Hi, my name is Gabby Bertrand, and today I will be teaching you how to implement the quadratic formula into a quadratic equation. Well, I'm sure you're wondering, what exactly is the quadratic equation? A quadratic equation is an equation with a degree of 2, meaning that at least one of the numbers in the equation is raised to the second power, kind of like this equation. So in this equation, we see that x squared minus 5x minus 36 equals 0. This is the standard form of a quadratic equation. So they're usually written in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now, moving on to what the quadratic formula exactly is. So the quadratic formula says that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4a times c divided by 2 times a. So this is the quadratic formula, and this is the quadratic equation we are dealing with today. So if you can't really see that, this is an up close. X squared minus 5x minus 36 equals 0. So we're going to be solving this quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula. So without further ado, let's get started. The first step that I always do is to identify A, B, and C. Because if you look at your formula, you see that you have A, B, and C. Well, what numbers are A, B, and C? I'll show you. A is x squared, and A always is the one that is raised to the second power. B is negative 5, and C is negative 36. Excuse me, B is negative 5x, not negative 5. So A and B both have variables, and C never has a variable. So that's how I remember that. The next step is to plug in A, B, and C into your formula. So A equals 1, B equals negative 5, C equals negative 36. So let's plug those in. So X equals, and since it's saying negative B, well, if you look over here, your B is a negative. So a negative and a negative make a positive. So negative B would actually be 5 plus or minus the square root. B squared, B is negative 5, so negative 5 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is negative 36. All over 2 times A, which is A is 1. So once you've gotten this down, you're ready to solve. So the first step in solving this equation is by bringing down x and this number, and in this case, the number is 5. So bring down 5, your plus and minus sign, and deal with everything in the square root first. So the first number we see is negative 5 squared. Well, negative 5 squared is 25. So write that in the square root. Negative 4 times a positive 1 is a negative 4. And negative 4 times a negative 36 is a positive 144. All over, your next step is to multiply 2 times 1. So 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus 144 is all over 2. Okay? The next step is to bring down x and your equal sign, 5 plus or minus, so bring those down. And then you deal with whatever's in the square root. In this case, what's left in our square root is 25 plus 144, and that equals 169. Next, bring down 2. Looking at this, you see that 169 is the square root of 13. So write that down. X equals 5 plus or minus 13 over 2. So the next step is to apply the plus and the minus. So you're going to have x equals 5 plus 13 over 2 and x equals 5 minus 13 over 2. So let's deal with this equation first. So x equals 5 plus 13 is 18 divided by 2. And you have 18 divided by 2, which is equal to 9. So x equals 9. And that's your x value for this equation. Next, moving on to the next equation. X equals 5 minus 13, which is a negative 8, all over 2. Negative 8 divided by 2 equals negative 4. So x equals negative 4. So once you've found your x values, which are 9 and negative 4, you need to individually plug them back into the equation to make sure that they equal 0. So let's test x equals 9. So what this means is that you're going to put 9 wherever x is. So it would be 9 squared minus 5 times 9 minus 36 equals 0. 9 squared is 81 minus 45 minus 36 equals 0. 81 minus 45 is 36 minus 36 equals 0. And 36 minus 36 is 0. So x equals 9 is a value. So let's move on and try x equals negative 4. So plugging in negative 4 wherever x is, so x squared, so negative 4 squared minus 5 times negative 4 minus 36 equals 0. Negative 4 squared is 16 plus negative 5 times negative 4 is a positive 20 minus 36. 16 plus 20 is 36 minus 36 equals 0. So x minus 4 is also a value for this equation. And there you have it. You've solved a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. I really hope that this video helped you to learn how to solve quadratic equations using quadratic formulas. Thank you for watching.